Hey smauglings, what is happening? This is going to be the review for The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. So this is directed by Kenji Kamiyama and starring Brian Cox, Gaia, Luke Pasqualino, and Miranda, Otto. So this is 183 years before Bilbo first finds the ring in The Hobbit. Immediately, I think the novel thing about this film is that it is an anime installment in a big franchise, which we don't often see. I know Star Wars have done the series on Disney Plus where they have filmmakers from around the world give their take on a particular Star Wars story, and it's really cool to see that here for a full-length feature film. That is something we do not get very often, so I'm happy that it's a franchise such as The Lord of the Rings, which I do love very much. The plot of this one follows Hera. So this is the daughter of Helm Hammerhand, a noble family in Rohan, and they are visited by a childhood friend of Hera's by the name of Wolf, and he asks for her hand in marriage, and she doesn't want this, and she doesn't want to be married to anyone, and he doesn't like this at all. And Helm Hammerhand and the other family have been on friendly terms before, but there is an issue between them. A rift grows and they have a fight outside, and then Helm Hammerhand wins the fight against the father of the other family, and then Wolf vows to take revenge on Helm Hammerhand, and that is the primary conflict within the film. It's Wolf against Hera in the film, and that drives them to go to this stronghold that we know as Helm's Deep, and that is where the majority of the film takes place, and that is the basic premise for this particular film. If you look at the general consensus for the reviews for this film, it hasn't got great reviews at all. I think it's sitting at a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is not sufficient, quite honestly, because I think this is quite a good film. It is not nearly as good as the original trilogy by Peter Jackson. It is definitely a step down from that, but I'm happy that we're back in Middle-earth in a theatrical form, even though we've had series such as The Rings of Power, which I do like quite a bit, and I actually just finished the second series of that right before seeing this film, which is quite funny, but that is the case with that. But the animation is very good. I think it is quite good in this film. It's not the best I've ever seen. It's not the most fluid I've ever seen, but I do adore this particular type of animation. I think anime is the most appealing animation in my eyes, and I think it's what looks the best, and I think it is very good here. When you look at this character Hera, I think she is a very good character, and I think the voice acting by Gaia is quite amazing in certain spots, and she's very reminiscent of that warrior princess that you see in a lot of anime films such as Nausicaa, Princess Mononoke, a lot of films from Ghibli, and very reminiscent of that. You can see that this particular filmmaker has taken a lot of inspiration from that, and I'm not quite sure if he's worked on a Ghibli film. I do know that he's worked on Akira as a background artist, but I'm not sure about his experience with Ghibli. But that is one of the best places to take inspiration from when you're in animation, so I do not blame him for that at all. Another criticism I'd levy at this film is that it doesn't feel as though the anime format is servicing this particular story. This could have been a live-action theatrical film, and it could have been better, maybe. I'm not saying that live action is better than anime. I just think that that could have suited this story more. I would have liked to have seen an anime format serve a story about Aragorn and the elves, perhaps. I think I would serve it better, and I think the story would have been served better by having it in the live action format. But that is a minor quibble, and you do have to take the film for what it is, because it is in the format of an anime film, and I do love that very much. I love the anime format, and I still think it is a worthy entry in the Middle-earth saga. Even though this is a film in the Lord of the Rings saga, as it does have that title, and it is telling you the story of how Helm's Deep was formed, I still think it does struggle to justify itself in the saga, and there's very loose connections to the existing stories in the Middle-earth saga. And a credit to the film is that for the majority of the runtime, you don't have those tethers to the previous characters or stories, and they do rear their head in some ways later on, but for the majority of the film, it is dealing with this family of Helm Hammerhand and his daughter Gaia, and it's a credit to the interplay between the characters and the voice acting that you're still engaged in what is happening. So that is a credit to the film, even though I do think it is loosely connected to the other stories, and it almost feels like sometimes without the locations and the music that it isn't strictly a Middle-earth film. It could have been a standalone film, but that is completely fine. So the rating for this one at the current moment, I think it's going to be a 7 out of 10, and that is a good score for a good film, and I am happy to be back in Middle-earth theatrically. I think that is very nice, as I think this series is at home most on the big screen, so it is nice to see it back in theatres, and I hope this film does well, and I hope more people see it. I know it's not doing the best at the minute, but I have enjoyed seeing a 2D animated film on the big screen, because we don't get many of them anymore. I think the most high-profile 2D animated films we get are from Studio Ghibli, so it is nice to see more filmmakers besides Miyazaki able to show their films theatrically, so I think that is very good. And this is sort of priming us for the other Middle-earth films that are coming out. I know we've got The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, that is being directed by Andy Serkis, so they'd be really exciting to see that, and I think this is a good entry in the Middle-earth saga, and I do recommend seeing it if you can. And that is my review for The Lord of the Rings. I was going to say The Hunt for Gollum then, that is not right at all. It is The War of the Rohirrim. That is the name of the film. Yes, it is, Smoggy. So, there we go, guys, and really appreciate you guys. Have a happy Christmas. I'm sure I will see you very soon, around Christmas time, so it won't be the last time I see you, smauglings, before the new year, but really appreciate you, and I will see you soon, smauglings. You guys take care, and I will see you soon.